Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Trevor Helmer with me here today. Trevor is an ex-banker trying to get a foot in the golf industry. He recently opened Scottsdale's only luxury private indoor golf club, Kin Golf. Welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thank you, Tim. Glad to be here.
That's some very interesting stuff. I'd like to hear about your past, but I'm also, as a golfer, interested in your new venture. So why don't you start with giving us a quick snapshot of your business right now?
Sounds good. Yeah, recently just opened it up about 4 or 5 months ago, but it's called Kin Golf Club. It's Scottsdale's premier private indoor golf club. We employ TrackMan golf launch monitors and golf simulation across 3 large bays. I have a custom celebrity green, sand infill putting green, putting lounge, private offices, fitness area. Everything essentially in one location that would allow an individual to practice their game of golf, relax, and just focus on getting better at the game. Too often, driving ranges are crowded, the weather's inclement, or it's too hot, it's too expensive, and I've just created a place that makes golf more accessible, not dependent on weather or the time of day, and it just allows people to practice smarter and play more confident golf.
Okay, excellent. What's the history of it? What brought you into that field?
Most of my professional life was in the financial services, specifically like loan operations, credit analysis, and running loan shops and loan operations groups for large banks. Recently, I was with a large bank when they went through a collapse back in 2023. And, once that happened, they went into receivership with the Fed. And when the acquiring bank bought those assets from the Fed out of receivership, I was in the first round of layoffs and, found myself with a lot of time. And, leading up to that, I was in the financial world working and grinding, in a kind of 9-to-5 job and lifestyle. And, when my wife and I were pregnant with our first child, or my wife was pregnant with our first child, she, kind of hit me up one day early on in the pregnancy and was like, what are you going to do for golf when the baby gets here? And I probably kind of looked at her a little cross-eyed, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, you're not going to be able to go to the golf course every Saturday and Sunday for 8 hours and play golf. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Right. And later I was probably like, oh crap, what am I going to do? And so I did some research, and that's where I found launch monitors. I did a lot of research. I ended up buying a nice launch monitor. I put a mat and a net in my garage, and I just started hitting balls. And over time, not that, my previous employers need to hear this, but, I was on a conference call that I just had to listen to and get updates and didn't have to contribute. I could go out there and take some swings. Or, it's late at night and I'm watching something on the golf channel and they're, hey, try this tip for a few extra yards. I could just hop out into my garage and do that. So that level of convenience just kind of spurred the idea that, hey, what if I take this nice equipment, this technology, put it in nice luxurious spaces, make it accessible to people 24/7, and allow them to engage with golf in a different avenue, per se, than they have before. It's not outside, it's indoors. It's not hot or cold, it's temperature controlled. You're not watching the ball fly hundreds of yards, you're watching it fly into a screen probably about 12 feet in front of you. But you get the visuals of it through the simulation. And so, fast forward to the layoff, and I found myself with time, and I was like, instead of digging back into the financial sector and trying to get another job running loan ops, it's like, hey, let's pursue a dream. Let's change kind of my mental, way of life, because living a paycheck job is vastly different than living a business job where you own your own business and you're starting it up. It's a different kind of grind, let's say.
Okay. So
ultimately what spurred the idea.
Okay. So it's a way for you to combine work with your passion. You've been a golfer for a long time then, I assume.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is the model, this technology's come a long way over the past 10, 15 years or 20 years. How long these tracking things have been around? About then, would you say about 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, so we use TrackMan in our golf club. If I remember correctly, I believe TrackMan was started in the early 2000s with their first like launch monitor unit released somewhere around 2004, 2005. Don't hold me to it, but yeah, I would say about 20 years is probably fairly
Okay.
accurate.
Okay. And yet now they can better do the trajectories, but also ball spin and all sorts of details, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the level of precision that some of these top tier launch monitor companies can derive out of their technology. And just the amount of data that they can generate is amazing. I mean, from club head speed, ball speed, to spin axis, spin rate, launch angle, descent angle, curves, height. It's just amazing. I mean, if I'm thinking of it just off the top of my head, there's probably about 35 to 37 different data points that it
Okay.
collects on every swing.
Wow. Wow. So is this largely a practice tool, an educational tool for coaches to bring to go in there with and have sessions with their clients? Is it a league type thing where guys can get in there together? Correct me if I'm wrong. The technology is such where you can go in and play whatever courses are in the system, right?
That's absolutely right. And I mean, to answer your question, it is all of those. That's the special thing about Kin. I have a lot of competitors in the market that focus a lot on the social or entertainment side. They sell food and beverages and they focus on that side. So a little bit more of like a top golf experience, but inside. My thing is a little bit more geared towards those looking to improve their game of golf. We don't sell food and beverage, but we dedicate the space to improving your golf game. I'm partnered with John Costas and another pro that works for him at the Costas Golf Academy. I'm working on some other partnerships to help kind of
Okay.
round out a nice collective group of individuals that can attack all sorts of the game. So whether it's the golf swing, it's the physical sides of the body movement, it's the mental side of the game, which if anybody's a golfer, you understand that the mental side is a very big part of the game. So finding
Yep.
the experts in those types of lanes within the golf industry and partnering with them to bring them into King Golf Club as a benefit to their business, but also a benefit to the community that we're building within Kin. And, it's ultimately what our tagline is, right? It's to know your numbers, practice smarter, and play more confident golf. For me, I have children now, and so my opportunity to get out on a golf course for 6, 7 hours is very infrequent and kind of
Yes.
rare. So when I do get out there, I don't want to feel nervous. I don't want to feel uneasy about where my golf game is. But along the way, I know I can get an hour here, an hour there, a few times a week to practice on my game. It's very similar to going to the gym and working out. And so that allows me to keep my game crisp, to keep it dialed in. And so when I do get those opportunities to play golf on grass, I'm ready to go. And I'm not nervous that I haven't played golf on grass in the last 2 months, let's say.
Right. And to your point, as a father as well, it is hard to get away for even a quick round of 3 to 4 hours is still pretty tough to fit in
Yeah,
our
even
busy
even a 9 hole
schedules.
round would be challenging at times, right? 2.5, 3 hours.
Yep.
It's hard. There's a lot to do at the house.
You could get in, and when you're playing a virtual round in there, you can get in. How quick can you play 18?
Um, it, for me, I've done it a lot, so I'm rather efficient. I can play a full 18 holes in probably 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. For those
Okay.
that aren't as familiar with the
Sure.
technology, an hour or less.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, wow, that's fun. That's very cool.
And that's
Um,
18 holes of golf, tee to green, like driver through putter. Every club in the bag you can play indoors.
okay, excellent. Um, let's go back and talk a little bit more for our listeners about the name, the kin and know your number. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so another little interesting thing for me personally, when I got the launch monitor originally or personally, early on, it was a very humbling experience for me in my golf game.
Can
I am a
exactly
man.
what
Well, I'll be
which
candid, right? Like I'm a
your
male
clubs?
species, so I have an ego and I play sports. So, I'm one of those guys that think I can just do anything and hit it forever. And all of a sudden I get this piece of technology that gives me the true on data. And what I used to think were like my carry yardages are actually my total yardages. So it's humbling in the fact that I wasn't as long as I thought I was off the tee or with my clubs. I wasn't as accurate as I thought I was.
Right. And so yeah, it's an absolutely prudent name for the company because golf is having a
Yeah, and I mean,
no bullshit understanding of where the ball's going to be. That's how you get
exactly.
good
And I
at
mean,
golf.
that's the biggest thing in golf. Like you will achieve a lot of success in the game of golf if you simply know your numbers. How
Yep.
far do you carry each club?
Right. Right. Okay. Excellent.
And
Great
the
stuff.
second point to your name, right? This one location isn't the ultimate goal. Hopefully, we're successful and we're able to have a lot of these and, to build the community. So, kin, we got a kind of second meaning there. The community behind it, we're all kin and we're
Okay.
all golfers looking to improve our game.
Right. I like it. I like it. There is some competition in that space. I don't know about locally, but in other markets at least, I know there's some that do have like treat it like a bowling alley, and there's pitchers of beer and other stuff. It sounds like your niche is a little more focused on performance.
That's absolutely right. And to your point, I do have a lot of competitors here locally, nationally. There's a few chains that are starting to pop up. So franchises in this space, there's a lot of independent owner operators like myself. It's an interesting thing. The technology has been around for a while, as we discussed previously. It's a lot more popular in other areas of the world. So think certain parts of Asia, certain parts of like Scandinavia and Northern Europe. A lot of colder climates are where they just don't have access to a lot of on-grass facilities. Think
Right.
South Korea or Japan. Like they just don't have the number of golf courses available, especially at a price point that the majority can afford. So a lot of people, actually the majority of people in those countries play most of their golf indoors. It's an interesting dynamic that does not exist yet here in the US.
Right. Okay. Interesting. It's there's also not a lot of indoor. I'm just thinking about like in England and stuff. Darts is they do things a lot more indoor sort of event because it's cold and rainy out.
Yeah, it's just the weather's less than ideal, right?
Right. Right. Okay. So that's exciting stuff. What's sort of been one of the biggest challenges in setting up Kim?
Um, it's interesting. So I did a lot of it myself. I mean, early on, it was building it. I mean, construction work. My experience in life is banking. I know how to run loan books and credit analysis and things like that. So when it come to
Okay.
like laying 3,000 square feet of flooring or painting 6,000 square feet of building, things like that I've never done. I don't possess the knowledge, experience, or tools, and so having to overcome those challenges in an environment where I don't have unlimited resources or time. So I have to
Mhm.
be quick and diligent about the work that I did. And so it was having to learn quick and do the work. So that was the challenge. And as I opened the business a couple of months ago, the biggest challenge really is getting people in the door to see it. Once people
Sure.
come and see it in person, they understand it right away. But getting that moment that people have when they first walk into the space online or on their phone when they see it in an advertisement or in a post on Instagram or wherever it is the biggest hurdle that I'm trying to overcome right now. Because if
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
bridge that gap of that first kind of interaction, whether it be on a computer or a phone, to when they first walk in to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to sign up and buy a membership, like
Right.
that's my biggest challenge right now.
Okay. Okay. And it sounds like you're already starting some affiliate relationships with different people in the industry nearby. That's great. Where is it located?
For those right here in the valley, we're right behind Scottsdale Quarter. We're not in the actual quarter, but just kind of kitty corner right off of 73rd and Bootheris.
Okay. Yeah, great. That's right where I keep an office at the quarter there. So I'm definitely gonna have to come by
Yeah,
and
walking
catch you.
distance if you're in the corner. Just grab your clubs and walk across the street.
Excellent. Well, that's a question for you. Is it bring your own clubs? Yeah, I'm sure you have some there for people to.
Nope, it's all bring your own clubs.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Rental clubs. I mean, another big thing about the game of golf, and for those that we're looking to cater towards, it's
Okay.
those that are golfers that are actively looking to improve their game. We
Okay.
have
So
the
it's
old social functions, private events, like you can bring in buddies, hang out, play around a golf, but the main our main customer is any golfer that is looking to improve their game and looking for a way or a space that allows them to do that.
Okay. And how much of that is software versus having a expert coach?
That's really going to be up to the individual member. I mean, it all depends on how you want to engage. I'll use myself as an example. I'm
Okay.
in the game of golf for the most part self-taught. Like my father brought me into the game. He taught me some basics. I mean, I still remember the one thing he told me when I was young. He's like, find a swing you're comfortable making and then go practice that. And it's essentially what I did. And I didn't take my first lesson in the game of golf until I was like 42 or 43 years old. And I ultimately went to go get a lesson because I got to a part when I was trying to make a swing change that I couldn't figure out. So I used to play a slight fade because I had a over the top swing. So I kind of cut at the ball. And as I got older, I started to lose power, and that little bit of a fade started to eat more of my distance. So I was like, all right, well, let's work on neutralizing the ball path or the flight path, or like put a slight draw on it. So I was able to do that with the launch monitor. I could see the data. It's giving me the feedback on every swing I take. And, I did a little bit of research to understand what that data means. And so as I'm trying to make those swing changes, I know what data points I'm looking for and what kind of numbers they should be showing that indicates I'm making the right changes. So as I'm making those changes, I just got stuck. Like I was able to start hitting draws, but I didn't have a lot of control. So I went and sought help from a professional golf, a PGA professional. And, in a couple of small things, he just had me turning better, had me bending more at the waist as opposed, I was a little bit more mid back. But long story short, having somebody else's perspective on my golf swing helped me get there. So back to your question, it really depends on the member. Are you an individual that works with a coach regularly? Like you see him once or twice a month, and you're regularly getting tips and training things and you're working in that thing? Or are you one of those people that are like me? You're less inclined to go seek help from somebody else because you understand the game enough to know what you should be doing. And then it's just up to you to figure out how to do it. Right. And so however you want to engage with the game, we have that space for you to do it.
Okay. Something I have to point out to my kids periodically is that coaching time is not really practice time. It's to make your practice time more worthwhile.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, I imagine you're going to have a number of pros you're going to have relationships with, and other might come to your facilities just with their clients to get some better data with them, right?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, like right now we do work with the Costas Golf Academy. So between John Costas and one of the pros that works for him, Zach Walsh, we do have in-house pros that are like our head professionals for King Golf Club. For those members that work with professionals outside of the club, we create different ways that they can engage with the club and bring those pros in. But we are a private club, so a little bit different than a lot of our competitors. We generally don't sell things by the hour. So you do need to be a member to use our facilities. Unfortunately, most people can't just walk in off the street and hop on a bay.
Okay. So, I think if you're going for that level, that makes sense, right? People who are really committed.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, however you do it, whether you're committed at, I can do it once a week, you can do that. You're committed at, I do it 5 times a week, you can do that here. We try to accommodate as many people as we can. If you're a social golfer that just wants to play rounds on golf courses, welcome to Kin. If you're a diehard grinder that just gets in there and bangs hundreds of balls every day, welcome to Kin.
Okay, excellent. So it sounds like things are going well. You've got it set up. You just need to start growing it, right? You start.
Yeah, we're in the growing phase right now.
The marketing
it's all about
and
like
all that.
Getting people in, getting eyes on it, and enjoying a little bit of all the work that I put into it to get to this point.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's kudos to you for doing that, for being an entrepreneur, for starting your own business. It can be scary and lonely.
It has a lot of interesting feelings every day, put it that way.
Sure. What if you can get some of the best returns, right, on doing it, running your own business as well. What's sort of been your best and worst investments in your life?
It's interesting because I think I would answer that question very differently depending on different stages of my life. And
Sure.
right now, I think back, not that anything one particularly, but earlier in my life, I think I chased a lot of material things just because maybe I had the idea that it would give me some level of status or something like that. And so there was times in my life where I may have spent money on things that I don't use, I don't have anymore that I thought it was going to get to me. And that money
Right.
could have been for a better experience, maybe a trip or something like that, that would have
Right.
created a better memory or a better experience in my life. So, I mean, I try not to live my life with regrets and, dwell on past decisions. So when I think about bad investments, it's just, there are certain times where I could have taken the money that I've earned in my life and put it to work in better ways.
Sure. Okay.
The best
Great.
investment. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a great way of thinking about it. I agree. I think I call them seminars, right? It wasn't necessarily a bad investment. You just learned from it and moved on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting. If you're not learning in life, like you are going to get left behind. And to your point, like the greatest investments in my life, it's not a financial thing, but it's really the work that I've done with myself in getting my mindset to be a growth mindset. And for those, and I'm not the best at articulating what a growth mindset is, but it's really for me the art of like what can be. So instead of approaching a situation as like, that's not going to work, we can't do that, whatever, it's like, what can we do? How can we make it work? And I've done a lot of work in my life to change that mindset and integrate it in everything I do, whether it's personally, in my relationships, professionally, with work.
Right.
It's like, what can be done? Like, what's the positive side here? There's a lot of negativity. There's a million things that'll always say, don't do it, or this isn't the best thing. But what is the one thing that says, yeah, let's do it?
Right. Okay. Great. Another great answer. I think Carol Dweck's book on mindset is one of the best out there. But yes, crazy important. And investing in yourself and skills and stuff is probably the best investment. I'm not a materialistic person either. I like experiences and things that it will always have with me. That's why I'm a big fan of the growth. Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. And let's talk a little bit more about, before we wrap things up here, sort of your goals for the company, right? Impact in Phoenix area, or in your goals for impact locally here, but also personally.
Yeah. So, I mean, goals for professionally right now with King Golf Club is to grow the business. And when I set out, it wasn't just to have one location, it was to have a lot. And if I do this right, if I test and learn in the early stages, I get a solid membership base and I figure out a solid economic model, I'll create a great business case to go get funded and create a lot. So, what I'm driving towards is building that community, building that engagement with the golf club, ultimately to create a bigger community. I want to have an impact in the golf game that just in some fashion shows people that you don't have to go to a golf course to engage with the game of golf. There's so many different ways coming about. Like there's new street golf games where they literally play golf on the street. They use foam balls, they use real golf clubs, they hit off cement, they bang it off buildings. It's a cool thing. It's for people that live, in large cities that don't have easy access to golf courses, but they're finding a way to play golf and it's cool because it's different,
Wow.
bringing more people into the game that probably may not normally engage with the game.
Right. Okay,
And so that's ultimately my thing. Like, how can I help people enjoy the game, or how can I help people grow the game, right? Grow their love for the game. Personally, I don't know. I want to feel like I'm contributing something to my life. I spent a lot of my life in the corporate world. I spent a lot of, let's say stress in my life for somebody else's dollar. And I don't know what benefit that got me in my life. I can't speak for anybody else's experience. I've just learned that my hustle now is about gaining the freedom in my life that I'm seeking. And that's to do the things I want to do. Most of them don't require a lot of money. So I chase freedom more than money now.
Awesome. Excellent. That's one of the definitions of success that I like the most, is doing what I want, when I want, with who I want.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's my sole goal in life. Like I don't need, 10 cars or 20 cars and 10 houses, whatever it is. I just, I want a nice, comfortable home. I want a car that gets me from place to place, and I want cool experiences. I want freedom. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, I like to ask a reflection question to people, but that was kind of it, right? What do you wish you knew sooner about building wealth and success earlier in your life? It sounds like
I have a good answer for that.
Okay, great.
What I wish I knew sooner in my life, and it's taken me a few decades to learn this, is how much control I have over my life. How much control I have over to make changes, to make things better, how much control I have to stay in less than ideal situations. I mean, at the end of the day, it's amazing what we can do to better our lives if we just realize we have the control to change it and then do it.
Not get caught in a fixed mindset.
Yep, exactly. There's always a way.
Okay. Love it. Good stuff. All right, Trevor, if people would like to connect with you and learn more about Kin, what should they do?
A couple different ways. Check out our website, kingolfclub.com. It's KYNGOLFCLUB.com, or check me out on Instagram, Facebook. It's at Kin Golf Club. But yeah, we're doing a lot of cool things. If you're a golfer in the Valley, please come check us out. We have a huge Thursday skins game that we just started up. It's open to the public. So if you love a little skin in the game and like competing against some people, like, come and get in it. But Tim, thank you.
Very cool. Excellent. Well, thank you, Trevor. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you all next time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.